Hi friends, welcome to Non-Functional Club. Today, as a part of our performance testing series, we'll be looking into an interesting tool that is Apptim. So we will start from the installation of Apptim and how we can test an application. So we'll look into a demo of how we can actually do performance testing on a mobile application and look into how the report is fetched and how we can look into the observations from that report. So let's begin. So to download, we have to visit apptim.com/download. So in the browser itself, if you just type in apptim download, and the first link which you will be getting, just have to click on it, navigate to it. And as I'm using Windows system, I'll click on Windows app. If you are using Mac, you can click on the Mac version. So once you click on it, the downloading of the application will be started. So once the downloading is done, as we install normal applications, similarly we have to install Apptim as well. So once the zip file is downloaded, we can extract it for the MSI file. So here I'll just extract this. So once you extract, you'll get the MSI file. Let's double click. And the installation process will start. So this is a normal installation process which usually happens for Windows applications. Follow all the default steps. I'll be mostly fast forwarding this. So if someone wants to look into the whole installation process, you can just pause the video and have a look. So once the installation is done, just go to the start menu and launch Apptim. Once you launch it for the first time, it will look in this way. It will automatically detect all the libraries which are not present. So all the plugins which are required for Apptim to run, it will install by default. So we'll just click on install the dependencies and the installation will process. Again, I'm going to fast forward this. So once Apptim is fully installed, we'll be able to say this particular screen when you launch Apptim. You have start a new test option, so we'll click on it. I've connected my device, so we'll wait for the device to be detected. And you can see this particular device has been detected. I'll just pin this. Yeah. Now, whichever device, like if you have multiple devices connected to the, you know, to your PC, right? So those all will be displayed here. Now, as I've connected one device, this particular is displayed. I'll click on next so that we can start the test session here. So once you click on next, the fetching of logs, that is whatever action we are going to perform, whatever scenario we are going to perform, that will be started. Before that, it will ask us on which particular application you want to start it. So I've installed Times of India application. I'll just click on it and I'll say can start this. Once you click on that, okay, it will be displayed with two options. That is, you want to start a 10-minute session or a 30-minute session. Obviously, 30-minute session will be a paid session. So we'll go for 10 minutes as an exploratory session. We'll have to give a particular name. So I'll just say demo and TOI, Times of India. And it will also give us an option if you want to launch the app automatically. So we'll say start that. Yeah, we'll just say yes and we'll start it. Once the session is started, right, the actual performance or the actual scenarios which we have to test, it will go on your mobile app. Okay, so automatically Times of India application will be opened and we can actually test that particular application. So here my Times of India application is opened. Just wait, there is some lag between my screen mirroring. So here it is displayed a bit slow. Yeah, now you can see it has been started. Obviously all the sessions which are present, right? So this particular running state detects that your Times of India application is open. All any application which you want to test has been opened, and now you can perform your scenario. Okay, so here you can see the time elapsed, that which all functionalities you are going to test. Currently, I'm just going to browse on, right? If you want to perform a particular scenario, right? Like I want to navigate from this particular top to India section. Okay, this is my scenario. When I'll click on it, obviously I'll be navigated to India, and there will be another set of entities already present. Like there will be few APIs which will be again which will be hit, and those will be presenting out the data for this particular section, that is India section, right? There will be few images installed, there will be few maybe ads installed, and accordingly it will be displayed to the user. So now even if you click on another point, that is say world, right, if you want to navigate to world, same again scenario will be happening. That is, you will be navigated to the another pattern, and there few APIs will be hit, and world news for the um, app will be displayed here. Now accordingly, as per your particular scenario, suppose yours is a gaming app, it is a user friendly app, or it is maybe Amazon, certain payment gateway applications. So if you want to test all those apps, you'll have certain set of scenarios which are specific to performance, and those specific scenarios only you'll be testing as a part of your performance testing, right? So for now, let's just say we will end session. Now what all activity we have done, according to that all the data will be fetched by Apptim. Okay, we have already seen in the previous session what all things or measures of performance testing are considered as a part of performance testing. All those measures will be captured and those will be presented in Apptim. So if you have missed our previous session, do visit or do watch the previous video wherein I have explained thoroughly how a performance testing of mobile application is considered. There you'll get an idea of how we have to consider mobile testing, or to say mobile application performance testing, and how that can be actually taken ahead in terms of your particular scenarios of mobile application testing. So now you can see the report, what all name we had displayed, that is demo Times of India app, that is present here. This is the Times of India with versioning. Now if you want to open this particular report, we'll click on open local report, and now the particular report of this application will be displayed. Here you can see all the screen capturing. Now the screen capturing which I just shown was another third party app, but here also Apptim itself have captured from screen capturing to the report analysis. So what all activity we have done? So if I just open this, I just launch this. Here also you'll be able to see what all activity we have performed as a part of the Apptim check, or as a part of Apptim whenever Apptim was enabled, what all things we have done. From top we have navigated to India, from India we had navigated to world. So all that stuff is captured here, and the report is only displayed for this particular scenario. So even if you miss out what you have actually calibrated or what scenario actually you have performed, that also will be present here for proof analysis. Next, if we just navigate up, here you can see internally Apptim has calculated few errors or exceptions. This is the max memory usage during the scenario which we have just tested. This is the startup time it has taken. This is the app size, then the maximum CPU usage and average frames per second. FPS is displayed here. Now, if you go to detailed report, okay. So in terms of detailed report, if you want to see, you can see the summary, right? This is the max memory usage. This is the top startup time. This is the average. So what all parameters it wants to define, or this summary it wants to define, it is present here. This is the activities time with respect to the app size, average CPU usage, then the network and all. All the summary data is present here. If we go to the thorough details, so here you can see graph of your memory, storage, all those pointers. So now if you see, this looks a bit complex. So if you want to make it simple, you can just go to multiples tab. In when you click on multiple tab, you will see all the data is now segregated. So see, your CPU is separated, network is separated, memory, storage, rendering time, all is separated now. If you navigate here, you can see that. So if we see in our particular scenario, the maximum CPU usage, if we go here, it is 37%. So that is displayed here. Then the threads count. Obviously, whenever a particular application is opened or launched, there are particular threads which are running in background or foreground, which will be presenting the data for that particular application. So all those threads parameters is also calculated here. Again, this particular readings are already known to the developer. So whenever you are performing a particular scenario, you may have a particular threshold of how many threads should actually be running in the background when you are performing a particular scenario. So if it is not matching, if it is less than or greater than the thread counts, then that can be noted down and that can be solved as a part of performance test. So this was regarding your CPU. If you go to memory, the next major element, you will see this particular memory calculation was also done. How much MB of data was actually used, that will be present here. So what happens is when you perform a particular scenario, at that particular instance, there are particular files which are getting downloaded, there are particular threads which are active. So with usage of all those components, there will be certain sort of memory usage present. And whenever you close the application or close that particular scenario, the memory usage graph will again decrease. So that can be checked here. Next is your network. So how much MB of data KB in KB we have displayed here in this graph. So how much KB of data was actually used when your scenario was going on is present here. So at our particular scenario, the peak was 1597 KB. So that can be checked. Again, this is your downloading of downloading part of the network stuff, and this is your uploading part. So two major elements whenever you are using the application, there will be some part which is downloaded, for some part which is obviously uploaded from the server. So this is the maximum usage in terms of KB for network upload speed. Then the rendering time. Rendering again is considered in terms of FPS. So what is FPS? First of all, whenever we are navigating through different screens, okay, or internally also, if there are multiple screens which are enloaded, or which are loaded in terms of displaying what all characteristics or what all is the particular functionality in the application, that particular frame per second rate is displayed here. Next is your storage part. So again, how much storage was being used in a particular scenario, that will be displayed here. So as you can see, all the major elements, or particularly every element, is considered here, that is CPU, network, storage, memory, and rendering time, which are the basic parts in terms of detailing about what all functionalities are being used by the application. Next is the address list. So which all addresses were hit when you are using that particular application, it will be present here. So if there are particular addresses which should not be hit, or there are particular miss out elements by the developers, they have kept a few things still intact, which were present in the debug application, and those should have been removed. There are unnecessary hits for a particular IPs that can be segregated or checked here and can be solved. Next is your when where we are fetching the application, details, which all database which were running as a part of that particular scenario you can see here. So you will be aware that there are always databases present for a particular application internally for the application. So those database you won't be able to see, those are present in the internal memory, and that particular memory is being present for the application specific usage. So Apptim calculates, or Apptim gets into all the details of that particular queries, and it will be showing it to you. So worst is that it took 72 milliseconds. This is the average for all the, like, whenever this particular SQL command was hit, it was hit 50 times. Out of that, once it was hit and it took 72 milliseconds to respond, and the total milliseconds used by this particular query is displayed here. So if we see from backend perspective also, we are able to check for a particular database query hit, what is the timestamp of my particular scenario. Again, you can see top 10 queries which were hit by Times of India is present here. You can, for reference also, you can just see that Times of India is present in all the queries, and that itself is giving us the information that this particular queries were hit by Times of India application. So all these things are very much integrated with the application. For your particular application also, whenever you test, which all queries are taking time can be noted, and obviously we can do some optimization for this particular queries or this particular backend checks, and instantly the performance of our application can be impacted, can be improved by this. So this was about our database. Now if you see this particular report itself will give you a major analysis of what all performance was calculated and how it was used. Okay, here also if we see, there are particular elements where it is showing us error, this is also an error. So it is showing us that there was a exceeded limit of max memory usage. That was, so this particular 256 MB was is set in Apptim database. Okay, so what Apptim application is doing, it is just comparing with 256 MB. If it is greater than that, it will throw us an error. Again, in the top startup time, the startup time should not exceed about 3000 milliseconds. Here it is exceeded, so it is showing us. Again, the average memory usage which is been displayed or which is set by Apptim. So these are all standards. Okay, what should be the standard max memory usage? It should be 256 MB. So the Google standards are being set in the Apptim app itself. It is been, it is comparing with whatever scenario we are testing and how our application is responding to it, and it is showing us a proper report in which we can actually take it to concern. For my particular scenario, there was actually a max memory usage, and there is an optimization chance that we can take and optimize our application in terms of memory, startup time, and average memory usage. Okay, now if we go to the next section, if we go to the left panel where the menu is displayed, if you go to environment, you will see I am using this particular application on this my Motorola One Power device, right? So all the information about my device will be present here with launch activity of our application, then the screen information of my device. So I, obviously whenever we are doing performance testing, the intensity or the behavior or the scenario analysis from device to device, it will always vary as a part of performance testing. So this report will also give us an idea that, whenever you are doing this testing on this particular screen resolution, this particular display density or the RAM, how is the behavior going to happen. Okay, next is your permission analysis. So through the Android manifest file, it has given us all the permissions which are taken by the user. So this is particularly giving you an environment analysis in terms of your mobile device and in terms of your application on which we have performed the scenario. Next is correctness. So correctness is, it will give us an information about all the activities which were performed. Then the layout information in terms of UI and nested layouts. If we go to the actual section, that is errors, Now what Apptim does is it internally calculates, or again, if you are aware of our previous video in which we have discussed in the PPT about like theoretically all the elements which should be considered as a part of performance testing. So here we have ANR state and crash state. So whenever a user is using the application, if it gets any application not responding errors, okay, obviously he's not going to use the application. It is bad impact on the usage criteria of the application, and performance basically deals with the usage pattern of the application. So there are two major criteria there, that is app not responding state and crash. So here if we see, there were 7 crashes which were observed when I was using the Times of India application. All those crashes through logs, it has been fetched here. And again, if we just generally also look into, if you are a developer, if you look into this particular crash, you'll easily come to understand that there is some missing element in terms of the SDKs, in terms of libraries, in terms of code classes, and you can fix this easily. So all these exceptions are a major element in terms of crashes, and this should be looked upon. This is hindering the performance of your application in all the states on this particular device, OS level activity or UI level activity. So that can be checked. Next important part again is logs. So if you go to logs, you will see logs are being captured with all the phases. This is your power usage. You can see the categories in which those are calculated. So these are the events, these are storage logs, these are your startup logs, app size logs, process logs, activity logs. So if we are performing a particular scenario, okay, here if you go to summary, right? If I say my startup time is more, right? And developer, or as a developer also, as a QA also, if you want to actually deal or check with the logs, you can just go to the processes or activities and UIs, right? And you can check, this is your rendering time, that why my particular application is taking so much time, what was the actual behavioral pattern observed there, and how I can see this. Here itself we are getting application startup time. So if you just download these logs, you can easily go to the like through logcat and all also we check. So here you can easily get to know where actually there was a timestamp in which my activity took a lot of time to start up. So this is the in detail review like of the scenario which we are performed. Now if you check here, this is just for single activity, right? When you actually note down all the scenarios which are performance critical for your application, and one on one also if you test, instantly you'll get to know a report wherein you can optimize the characteristics of the application and make it more usable, make it more compatible in the market. So that was about Apptim tool in details. Hope you have got to know how we can use Apptim tool for performance testing of mobile application. Do share and subscribe the video. Don't forget to subscribe non-functional club channel. Thank you.